thank you for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. My name is Yolanda Givens, and I am your host. As you know, we are here every Tuesday at 7:30, and we definitely appreciate you tuning in. We are bringing you information about just trying to help people live healthier lives, providing resources, and we're raising awareness and connecting folks to each other because we know how important it is for all of us to be in positions to where we can live healthy and have access to quality health care. We know oftentimes in the community, especially communities of minority communities, that there is a disparity and we just don't have the knowledge and the resources. So this show, the Doty Report, is bringing you some of that. I always want to give a shout out to the founder and CEO of the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization, Mr. Don Doty. Hey, Don, and his wife, Miss Joyce, who have been in the business of being advocates of bridging the gap of those disparities for over 20 plus years. So it is Lupus Awareness Month, and I am very excited about the guest that is here with me, and she is going to enlighten us and share with us and educate us and probably empower us. So we're going to get right to it. You know that we encourage you to call in with questions or comments. We want this to be an engaging 30 minutes. So get right to it. My guest for tonight is Lady Quita Stokes. And Quita is a first lady. She is a registered nurse. She holds a Master of Science in Nursing. She is also an entrepreneur, and I know her to be very, very community oriented, and the health of our communities is important to her. And even though she holds these titles and she is a healthcare professional, she is actually living with lupus herself. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So we're going to start off, Quita, with tell us a little bit about Quita. Quita and the registered nurse.
Well, Quita is pretty much an open book. As you said, I am a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for about over 14 years now. I love it. I would not change anything about it. One of the things that drew me into being a registered nurse was the community aspect and helping people. So, that's pretty much my passion, is helping people. So I decided to become a nurse. And I've been doing it, and I've been hitting the ground running. And a lot of my background has been in the community setting. So I'm currently working on my nurse practitioner now.
All right.
So,
congratulations on that.
Yes, so soon I will be a doctor and nurse practitioner. So I'm excited about my path and my career choice at this moment.
Okay, so I know, and Quita is actually a friend of mine. I call her my sister, and I consider her my personal private nurse. So whenever they're having an issue, I'm texting her, I'm calling her, saying, "What about this and what about that?"
Absolutely.
And I imagine, as a registered nurse and someone who's been in the healthcare the business of healthcare in this profession for a while, you probably get that all the time.
I do.
And I don't think people ever think that, even though we know you're human and you get sick, but I don't think that part really crossed our mind, because I was like, Quita's a registered nurse. Let me call and ask her about this. But you yourself have had some health challenges.
Yes.
Have health challenges, with lupus being one of them. And I know a few people actually that's living with lupus. So it's I don't know how, I don't know how common or uncommon, because I know quite a few people. But let's talk about that first. What is lupus?
Well, lupus is pretty much a very complicated disease process. It's first of all, it's an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
And a lot of people, when you ask them, what is an autoimmune disease? A lot of people don't know. And an autoimmune disease is like any other autoimmune disease, like HIV, AIDS, um, rheumatoid arthritis. These are disease processes that you get, but they're treatable, but they're not curable.
Okay.
And with lupus, it's an anti-inflammatory disease process that take place in your body. And it actually can it can stay dormant for a very long time, and you not know that you have it. Um, we don't know what causes it,
Okay.
really, but we do know that it affects more women
Okay.
than men. We also know that it affects a lot more African American women. But we do know that with the proper treatment, 80 to 90% of the population have been managed, and
Okay.
they're living better lives with it over the course. Um, One of the biggest myths that I hear all the time is, you know, my friend died of lupus, and
Yeah.
that's so far from the truth. You don't really die from lupus. You don't die from the disease process. You die from the complications of the lupus,
Okay.
because lupus is so wide range that it could attack so many different organs, so many different systems of your body, and that's where you go, where things spiral out of control. So that's pretty much the issue.
Okay. And how long ago were you diagnosed?
I actually was diagnosed about 2 years ago
Okay.
with lupus.
Okay.
And I was not actually looking for it. It just fell in my lap.
Okay.
And I went to a dermatologist,
Mhm.
and because I had started losing some hair.
Okay.
And I had hurt my knee. And in Florida, I don't know if you remember, we went on a trip in Florida. I had hurt my knee, and I had started having a lot of joint pain. And it was like one thing just exacerbated after another. I started losing some hair. I went to the dermatologist, and the dermatologist did some workup and told me that I had some type of autoimmune disease that I need to look into. When I got the workup, and boom, I diagnosed with lupus.
Wow. So, being a registered nurse, a healthcare professional, one that is still take care of people, how was that for you, and how did you deal with that or cope with that, or how are you, I should say, because you're still having to deal with it and cope with it.
Um, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to be very transparent. Once I got diagnosed, it was like things start going downhill very rapidly for me. And as a healthcare provider, you're always trained to be the person caring for others. You're the person that's being trained to be the strong one, to give the encouraging words, to look for the answers, to help find the answers. And when it comes to the point where you're the one on the opposite end, and you don't know what to do, or you don't know the outcome, it became very depressing. And I did go through a phase of depression.
Okay.
And I went through a phase of depression. I went through a phase of anxiety. I had to get help, professional help. And, and I tell people all the time, especially us as African Americans, we like to shy away from that word. But it helps because, we need it.
Right.
And so it was very difficult for me. It was very difficult for me.
Okay. Okay. Um, What would you say to some? So what are some symptoms? I know it sounds like you really didn't have symptoms, but are there some symptoms that people may be experiencing, but they kind of not really paying attention to it? Are there some things going on with the body that they should pay attention to?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why healthcare professionals push all the time preventative health.
Mm-hmm.
Preventative health, you guys. You have to go and get checked out. A lot of the times we only want to go when things are worse or at the very end. But there are signs. A lot of the times, I hear people say all the time, I'm always fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always fatigued. I'm always tired. I'm always tired. I don't know. I can't get enough rest. In women, that is one of the telltale signs.
Really?
You're always fatigued and tired. That is really, you know, one of the signs. You can be losing weight. Um, you can, like I said, pain. You can start having like joint pain. It can come out of anywhere. Weight loss. It could be so many different things.
Okay.
Hair loss. Mine came in the form, like I said, of hair loss.
Okay.
The fatigue. Some people have fevers. If it start affecting, it's all dependent on what organs that it's affecting. If it's affecting your kidneys, you could start having problems with your kidneys. I mean, it's so many different things that your body go through. But when you start having those different issues and your body is telling you something and you know it's not right, you need to go to the healthcare professional and say, this is what's going on with me, and it's and it's not right. And we could do that workup to see what's going on and check those levels to see how everything is going, and you can get treatment sooner than later.
Okay. So I think I've heard and that those with lupus have moments of flare up, or so what is that? What does that mean?
Well, flare ups is when they say flare ups, they mean exacerbations. I don't know, when you follow me, sometimes like I'm having a flare up. I could wake up some mornings like with the weather. The weather can alter my day. I can start having pain in my joints. I could be fatigued. And the pain could be so excruciating. A lot of the times it's pain that you are dealing with on a daily basis. Or like I said, whatever different disease process that you're going through. If it's affecting your kidneys, you could be dealing with that issue, because some people that are going through kidney failure, or it's so many different manifestations that people go through. So I can only go off for what I deal with on a daily basis, because somebody else may have different manifestations that they deal with. So you never know. But exacerbations is pretty much whatever that flare up is. And 9 times out of 10, most people are talking about pain.
Okay.
Pain.
Okay. So a lot of pain. So what would you share with? Because most of the time, if you're not a healthcare provider, professional, you kind of go to the doctor and they tell you, and you believe it. You do what they say, or you don't know to ask more questions. What words of advice would you give to someone who have been recently diagnosed, or even been diagnosed a long time ago, in terms of questions and things that they should be asking from their healthcare provider, from their doctor? Like, should they, ask them to give them certain tests, or just what is it that they shouldn't be hearing from their provider in terms of treatment and care?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I am a very functional provider. You know, a lot of people, there are so many different people that teach different type of medicine out here. And I like functional medicine. And functional medicine is more so on the holistic realm.
Okay.
I don't believe in pushing every medication that's out there. I remember when I first got diagnosed with my disease process, with me being a healthcare provider, I knew a lot more,
Right.
of course, than the average
Right.
person.
Right.
So therefore, I wanted to know my options. I was against using the steroid route.
Okay.
Okay. I was against that. And so I wanted to do more research. But I do tell people all the time, a lot of people expect healthcare providers, nurses, doctors, I don't care who you are, they expect you to know everything.
Right.
And you don't know everything. In my realm of nursing, in my years of nursing, I did a lot of ortho in my past. I did a lot of community. I didn't run across a lot of people that had lupus.
Okay.
So that wasn't my forte. So when I got diagnosed with lupus, of course I knew what it was, but I had to do a little bit more research as well.
Okay.
It's a learning experience on a daily basis for everyone. So I had to reach out to my resources to get more information, my different options. Like I said, I reached out to functional medicine doctors about my options and things of that nature. So it's all about what you want and how you want to be treated. If you just want the pain to go away and you don't want, to know how to live a healthier lifestyle, I wanted to be able to see if I could live a healthier lifestyle and cure my lupus through functional medicine and through my diet. And pretty much, so it's all up to that person. That's what I would tell them. And how bad you want to get better.
Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. We are talking about, it is Lupus Awareness Month. So we have Lady Quita Stokes, here with us as the guest. And she is a registered nurse. She's also been a nursing instructor, right?
I have been a nursing professor, yes.
Yeah, she has been a nursing professor. But she's also living with lupus. So she's sharing her experience being the regular person and being the healthcare provider,
Yes.
both ends of it. And so I know you are also, I'm going to shift a little bit, a healthcare provider that is very community oriented.
Yes.
And so what would you say about the state of our community as it relates to health? Like, is there anything going on we should know? Is there anything that you could share with us that you think is not any education, any awareness, just from being on that side of the healthcare provider side of it and what you see, that's happening in the community?
Well, I feel that we have a long way to go in healthcare in general. I feel that, with our systems, being abused, it's just so much. And I think that what end up happening is our patients get lost in that shuffle.
Absolutely.
They get lost. If you don't have insurance, if you don't have this, if you don't have that, you're not able to get what you need. Honestly, to survive, if you don't have the resources, how can you survive or do what you need to do to live a healthier lifestyle? And that's the reason why I took this role, because I grew up awarded a state. I'm a very transparent person. And I just vowed when I grew up that I wanted to give back all of the things that I felt like I lacked. And I want to educate and I want to give back to those that are in need, because we need to know these things. I feel like everyone has the right and the privileges to know what they need to take care of themselves.
Right.
And a lot of the times you're not going to get those resources or those tools unless you have the financial resources to back you.
Right. So what should we look for in a healthcare provider? Should we look for the bedside manner, or should we? What should we look for? You know, you've seen interaction between doctors and patients, and you've been a patient yourself. So, with your knowledge, what should someone be looking for in selecting a good healthcare provider?
You know, that's a catch-22 question. And the reason why I say that is because in my line of nursing and my years of being working, I have done so many different things in nursing. And working bedside, working in the community, being a professor, I have seen so many different things. And, you know, you have some very great doctors that have very poor bedside manner. But they are very knowledgeable. And they can, they're very knowledgeable. And they're able to treat you. And give you the best possible care. That some doctors that might have the better bedside manner can't. However, I don't think that you should be treated rude. And I think that if you feel that way, you should still speak upon it. But at the same time, me personally, I look at a doctor a provider that is going to provide me with the tools necessary that I need in order for me to take care of myself. If I pick a new provider and I go in and that provider comes in the room and they're only in there 5 seconds and they feel that they know everything that's going on with me in 5 seconds, me and that provider can no longer have a relationship. So you want a provider that is going to take time with you. You want a provider that is willing to explain things to you. You want a provider that is going to collaborate with you. If you have multiple disease processes, such as myself, I want a provider that is going to work with my rheumatologist, and they're going to figure out a plan for me together, not, you know, one doctor here, when they need to work together.
That's a good point.
To come up with a plan for me. And I want to be able to sit down and then work together, because if we work together holistically, we can come together to figure out how we can manage my disease process a lot better.
Right. That makes sense. I heard you here. What did you just say? Care
collaboration.
Yes, I love that. And definitely, if you are have different things going on as it relates to your health, how important it is for your primary care physician to be in somewhat of the loop of your specialist. Is what you're saying. And so they can kind of collaborate together to make sure that they're giving you the best possible care.
Absolutely.
What you also do some stuff in the community, and I don't want to make sure we don't forget that. Talk a little bit about what you got going on and trying to have an impact on the community in Chicago.
Well, I grew up a little bit in the Inglewood area because that's where my dad lived most of his life. And as you stated earlier, my husband is a pastor of a church in the Inglewood area. So what we're trying to do is, as you know, that these are poverty-stricken areas that need education. And that's one of the big things too. So I am using that also as a platform to give back and to educate our community with the resources and healthcare in any way possible. So what we will be doing, we have coming up soon on July 27th, we'll be having a youth rally. We'll be having a youth rally. And in the Inglewood area. And what we will be doing, we will be having healthcare vans. We will be having healthcare information. I will be out there answering questions. The health van will be out there. So we would just be giving out information to help them know what resources are out there to help them. Because sometimes it's just they don't know.
Right.
They don't know.
Right. So you hear July 27th. And what's the address?
The address to the church is 1907 West 71st Street.
Okay.
So that's where.
And the rally's going to be there? Or?
The rally will be down the street on 71st Street.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's youth focused.
Yes.
A lot of young people will be out there.
Yes.
They're going to be giving away back to school supplies, backpacks.
Absolutely. We're going to have live performances.
Healthcare vans.
Yes, healthcare vans.
Screenings.
We're going to be having motivational speeches. We're going to have police officers out giving motivational speeches, just trying to uplift our youth and educate and give back because it's so needed at this point.
That's awesome. So July 27th in the Inglewood area, be looking for information about that. As well, the Georgia Doty organization will be hosting a health and resource forum targeting veterans at the Kroc Center on August 1st from 10 to 2 p.m. I always tell you guys to find me on Facebook, Yolanda Givens, and I'm going to share all this information so that you will have that and be able to be a part of, go by, engage, and just learn more about the resources that are available to you. You can always go to the Georgia Doty website, that is georgiadotyinc.org. We have just a few minutes left. We just want to be encouraging to all of you that maybe that's living with Lucas. Is we want to encourage you to just be empowered and be inspired by Quita and know that it's not the end of the end. And I'm going to let Quita give some final words before we end our show.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for having me on the show today. It was, phenomenal to be here. It is always great to have a platform to share your story.
Absolutely.
Because sharing your story, you never know who you can help. And I just want anyone and everyone to know out there that if you have questions or concerns, I always have open communication. I always have an open line. You can contact me. I'm Quita Wiley Stokes on Facebook. So you can always reach out to me for questions. You want to find a support system. But just know that you can live with this disease and know that you are not alone.
You are not alone. And that is great to hear. And know that there's treatment. There is life after being diagnosed. Thank you so much, Quita, for being here. Thank the Georgia Doty organization for just having this platform, and thank Can TV for allowing us to be here. We will be back. I'll be back on next Tuesday at 7:30 with our next guest. Again, look for me on Facebook because I'll load it up with all this information. And we thank you so much for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health, and have a great, healthy rest of the week.
Thanks, guys.